Hi guys, it's Lucy and today I'm going to be doing my 2016 reading stats video. This will be a compilation of all of the statistics that I've gathered from this year in reading. So basically I will be using the statistics Goodreads provides me as well as the statistics that I get from Brock from LucieReads spreadsheet, which I will have linked down below, the 2017 one, in case you're interested. It basically takes almost every detail about a book that can be taken and compiles it into a bunch of things. So you can see how you're doing in one aspect, like what kind of books you're reading. First, I did complete my Goodreads challenge. My Goodreads challenge was set to 60 and I read 62 books. 14 of those were graphic novels and 48 were regular full-length novels. Some stats that Goodreads provides: the shortest book that I read was 108 pages, and that was A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And the longest book I read was A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, and that was 835 pages. The most popular book I read this year was actually a reread for me, and the book was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The least popular book I read this year was The Academy Alignment by David Davis, and this was actually a book that I got for review through NetGalley, so if you're interested in that review, it'll be linked down below. My highest rated book on Goodreads was A Game of Thrones, which has a 4.44 star rating. As for my goals for 2016, I had a goal to reread 6 books. I reread 3 books, and I had a goal to read 6 classics, and I read 5 of them. So I didn't accomplish either of those goals, but I'm not so mad about it because I did work towards those goals, and next year hopefully I will make it. I'll talk more about 2017's reading resolutions and goals in another video. I also was supposed to be doing the 52 books around the year challenge, and I gave it up halfway basically. I did end up doing 33 out of the 52 challenges. If you want to see the specific books that I used for each challenge, you can see the link down below because I do have a list on my Tumblr. So if you're interested, you can check that out. I also did a 2016 TBR at the beginning of the year, and I read 7 out of the 16 books I mentioned in that video. I'm pretty happy with that because that list was more of a loose guideline than I really need to get all these books read this year. It was just, it would be nice if I get some of these read this year, and I did, so I'm happy. Now we're going to dive deep into the statistics from my spreadsheet. Again, I'll have the 2017 one linked down below in case you're interested in doing it this year. I will be doing it this year because I had a lot of fun doing this, and seeing all these stats now is really interesting. This spreadsheet does not include any of the graphic novels that I read this year because I didn't put them on the spreadsheet because I didn't realize there was a way to separate it. Also, I'm holding my computer so that I can see the spreadsheet more easily. So first, let's talk about the genre of the books that I read this year. I read 2 science fiction novels, 7 fantasy novels, 1 historical fiction novel, 19 contemporary, 1 nonfiction, and as already mentioned, 5 classics, 1 middle grade, 2 mystery, and 3 paranormal, 5 dystopian, 1 anthology, and 1 poetry collection. Some of these I didn't know exactly which one to put them in, so I went with the first one on Goodreads, and that was it, because some of the contemporary I read could have been categorized as magical realism, but I ended up putting them in contemporary. As you can see, contemporary makes up a large chunk of my reading. It is 40% of what I read this year, which isn't a bad thing at all. Contemporary is my favorite genre, so I really expected this. It's actually less than I thought, honestly. And I also read 17,003 pages, including DNFs. I read 17,190 pages, which leaves an average of 354 pages per book. I did DNF 1 book this year, and the types of books that I read this year, whether it's hardcover or whatever, I read 15 hardcovers, 9 trade paperbacks, 19 ebooks, and 5 audiobooks. As you can see, the majority of my reading as a type of novel is ebooks, but overall, since trade paperbacks and hardcovers count as physical books, I've read 29 physical books and 19 ebooks, which turns out to be 60% physical and 40% ebooks. For the page lengths of the books I read, none of them were less than 100 pages. 3 of them were 100 to 199 pages. 16 of them were 200 to 299 pages. 14 were 300 to 399 pages. 10 were 400 to 499. 3 were 500 to 599. Wow, I didn't realize I read that many. 1 was 600 to 699, and then 1 was 800 to 899, which was obviously Game of Thrones. For the year the books were published, 5 of the books were published before the 1920s. 1 was published in the 90s, 6 were published sometime in the 2000s before 2010, 26 were published between 2010 and 2015, and 10 were published in 2016, which means I read 10 new releases this year, which is incredible to me. I feel like normally I do not read that many new releases. I really wish I had data from the year before to see how many, because that number really surprises me. Now some statistics about the authors that I was reading this year. I read 7 books by male authors and 36 books by female authors and 1 book by a genderqueer author, and 4 books were written by both. It really doesn't surprise me that the majority of books I'm reading have a female author, because that's just generally what I gravitate towards, and since I read majority YA, a lot of YA authors are female already, so that doesn't really bother me. The country the authors are from, 34 of them were from the US, 3 were from Canada, and 4 were from the UK. 1 was from Jamaica, 1 was from Israel, 1 was from the Netherlands, and 1 was from Ireland. How I did this was based on where they were from, so I looked up like where they were born, and that's not always the best way to do it, but it's the way I did it. Again, it doesn't surprise me that most of the books I'm reading are written by authors based in the US, because I'm from the US and I didn't really make an attempt to try and read outside of the US, and I don't really have plans to right now at this moment. I am planning to diversify my reading, but I don't know how much of that diversification is going to include authors of different countries. It would be nice, but I don't think I'm going to be focusing on that, but again, that'll be in my resolutions video. One last author statistic. I also kept track of race/ethnicity of the authors I was reading. I had a suspicion that I was reading majority white authors, and I was right. I didn't actually do anything to change that because I wanted to see what I naturally gravitate towards, and then next year I'm planning to take this and like do something about it. Overall, I read 43 books by white authors, 2 books by black authors, 2 books by South Asian authors, and 1 book by an East Asian author. Clearly, I'm not doing very well in the diversity department, and I do plan on changing that next year. Back to the books I read. I gave 4 of the books I read this year 5 stars. I think 2 of them were rereads. 2 of the books that I read got 4.5 stars. 25 got 4 stars. 11 got 3.5 stars. 5 got 3 stars. And 1 got 2.5 stars. So overall, my average rating was 3.85. I started 10 series this year, and I kept going in 4 of them. I completed 3 series. So that's more than I thought, actually. And as I said already, I DNF'd 1 book. Of the books I read, 18 belonged to series and 31 were standalones, which doesn't surprise me as I do prefer standalones. And last but not least, let's talk about the books that I bought this year, just because I think it's interesting. I ended up buying 38 physical books and 15 ebooks. 26 of the physical books were hardcovers and 12 of them were trade paperbacks. Those are all the book statistics I have to talk to you guys about. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a like. Let me know your most read genre in the comments down below. And again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.